Crazy. And it's getting even more bad. So maybe this road was the wrong choice. Oh my god. That's quite a bouncy bridge here, huh? Wow, I'm not sure if you can fly by this windy weather. It's really stormy now. Dak Mil.
Yes, today our BorderLine Odyssey is in Dak Mil, the Highland town along Vietnam's western frontier. We are here for a 2-night pause, after our long QL-14C descent, and before we head on, we will discover the town and chase the thunder of the twin giants, the Thac Dray Sap and the Thac Dray Nur Waterfall. But now let us see what the Chua Hoa Nghiem is all about. This pagoda is one of Dak Mil's earliest spiritual landmarks, founded in the late 20th century as waves of settlers moved into the Central Highlands after reunification. What began as a small wooden shrine built by migrant Buddhist families gradually expanded into a full pagoda complex, shaped by local artisans and monks who blended northern and southern architectural traditions into this volcanic plateau. Its name, Hoa Nghiem, Adornment of Enlightenment, reflects its purpose, a place to cultivate clarity and compassion in a landscape once known for its rugged frontier character. Over the decades, it became a cultural anchor for Dak Mil's diverse communities, a gathering point during festivals, harvest seasons, and moments of transition. Today, its statues, prayer halls, golden relief panels depicting the life of Siddhartha Gautama, and its relic tower stand as a quiet testament to the resilience of the people who built new lives in these rough frontier highlands. Now, before we explore the town, it is high time to refuel ourselves with a quick bowl of delicious pho, just to settle the morning miles, and a well-deserved stop at Cake and Roastery Shop of the Hong Phuc Coffee, a cozy Highland cafe serving strong coffee and delicious cakes, the perfect moment to breathe before we open up to the stories of Dak Mil. As we pass the Dai Chien Si Dak Mil Memorial, we step back to a time before the town of Dak Mil became the growing highland settlement we see today, to a time when this land was a contested frontier. The memorial at the roundabout honors the local soldiers, the volunteers, and the countless civilians who died here during the war, when these forest corridors and border patrol zones were marked by sudden, and often deadly skirmishes. In the present day, the monument stands as a reminder that this young urban area was built on sacrifice, resilience, and the long road from conflict to community. And so Dak Mil is a frontier town which was born from volcanic soil and post-war migration, on a once sparsely inhabited borderland, which grew after the reunification as the families from across Vietnam came and settled in these highlands. The Nong people, who are the original inhabitants, still shape the cultural landscape, while migrant communities brought new traditions, new crops, and new rhythms of life. We just arrived at the Gong Vien T Dran Dak Mil, which often casually called the Dak Park, and its adjacent lake, which is transforming into the town's most relaxed and scenic public space. The town park began taking shape in the late 1990s, then grew into a true community space after Dak Nong became a province in 2004. The adjoining lake is a man-made reservoir built for water management that slowly transformed the whole area into a scenic gathering place. I also noticed that around this lakeside, this town shows a different face, as many quiet villas and gated homes have been built by the town's more prosperous families. And I was told that over the past decade, this shoreline has become the most desirable place to live, a scenic pocket where cool breezes, open views, and the calm of the water is creating a surprisingly elegant corner of this frontier town. Let me quickly introduce you to my choice of hotel, which is the Na Ni Kim Thuan, new, clean, and family-run guest house. The restroom was well equipped with all the amenities I needed. And my room came with a balcony and was spacious, bright, and comfortable. Another big plus is the gated, covered parking area for both cars and motorbikes, and the views from here are amazing. And for dinner, I chose the Na Han Gaong Nguyen Gam Nu, a welcoming restaurant with a solid selection of traditional Central Highlands dishes. The flavors here reflect the earthy and comforting cuisine of the plateau, and was the perfect way to end my day exploring Dak Mil.
So, good morning. Today actually I want to go and see the waterfall. So let's see how the weather plays. Ooh. So let's head to the main road and then talk to you later. So, and I'm on the main road here, and it got already pretty busy.
And to avoid the main traffic, we are turning here onto the rural road DT 682.
It's a more rural road,
which will lead us to the DT 683, which is a route that is taking us through the quiet Dak Song Valley, a truly scenic stretch of farmland and rolling highland terrain, before merging into the DT 684 near the Dray Sap Waterfall, in the commune of Nghiem Da in the province of Dak Nông.
That's interesting.
Here, really nothing goes to waste. They even use the road meridians for farming.
And turning right here.
We are now passing the Dak Lop Camp Museum, which once told the story of this region's wartime past, the battles, the border patrols, and the local militia who defended this frontier. But like many small district museums, it has quietly fallen out of operation.
Here we get a little bit of the morning market vibes.
Stopping now at the Na Tho Phuong Thac, a small wooden church serving the local Christian community as a place of worship and gathering, where faith and community meet. It is really very simple and humble, and it looks like it is entirely built by the hands of the villagers themselves and standing as a quiet anchor here in the rural landscape.
So, and here we'll be turning to the left.
We are now on the DT 683 in the commune of Dak Song, which is a quiet rural settlement east of the town of Dak Mil, and the landscape here is also very much made up of red basalt soil, with coffee fields, and scattered highland villages all over.
Hello! Oh! Now, and suddenly the road is not that nice anymore. And it's getting even more bad. So maybe this road was the wrong choice. Oh my god. So, if you like adventurous road, choose DT 683 from Dak Mil to the waterfall.
But besides the sometimes rough road, the Dak Song Valley gives this area its gentle beauty as it comes with rolling hills, small streams, and the calm rhythm of rural life. It is certainly not a destination, but rather a hidden passage through the true Central Highlands, which is leading us eventually toward the mighty Dray Sap waterfall, and the volcanic frontier of Nghiem Da, on a much quieter road than the QL14 highway. We are now passing through Nghiem Xuan, a quiet rural commune here in Dak Mil, a place where coffee farms, red basalt soil, and scattered highland villages mark the transition from town to countryside.
Now, if the road wouldn't be that bumpy, that would be an amazing stretch to drive.
We have just merged from the DT-683 onto the DT-684, and now entering the Dray Sap Nam Da corridor. It is the stretch of road which will lead us toward the volcanic plateau and the famous Dray Sap waterfall, where the landscape opens into one of Dak Nong's most dramatic and most natural zones.
Is this the way? Looks like, huh? Let's see. Tube site. And this seems to be the entrance door. Ooh, 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 ooh. Hello.
Hello.
How much?
Ticket 81 people.
80,000, huh? Okay. Oh. Hello. And parking, I can.
Yes, I want more chicken. The car is at 10.
How much?
10.
10,000.
Yes,
Okay. Okay. The parking area for motorbike, the replica of the waterfall, and the entrance next to it, the restaurant, and of course some tourist shop, and then a mini zoo here with the ostrich running around, and the artificial giraffe. And that's the start of the hike down to the waterfall, 600 meters. And it's quite a way down, as you can see.
And here we have reached the lower level of the Thac Dray Sap, on the Lam Dong side of the magnificent twin waterfalls, also known by the locals as the legendary waterfalls of fire and mist. The Central Highlands hides many secrets, but few are as dramatic or as ancient as the twin waterfalls of the Serpak River. Now, we stand in front of the Dray Sap waterfall and at the edge of the Dray Nur, which is the second waterfall, and just 200 or 300 meters to our left. These two giants are not only carved by time alone, but also by fire, water, and the myth itself. To understand these waterfalls, we have to imagine this land a million years ago: no farms, no villages, and no roads. Just a volcanic plateau rising and collapsing, spilling rivers of molten basalt across the highlands, and when the lava cooled, it formed the brownish dark, hexagonal cliffs we see today, and which is the backbone of the two provinces of Dak Nong and Dak Lop. Then sometimes later came the water from the Krong Anna and the Krong Nur rivers and merged into a new stream that became the Serpak, a restless flowing water channel that carved its way through the hardened lava. Where the basalt cracked, the river fell, and these two waterfalls were eventually born. Now, let us go across these bumpy bridges and the river, to the Dray Nur Waterfall, which is taller, narrower, and as they say, also more dramatic. Here, the water drops more than 30 meters into a deep and echoing gorge, and behind the waterfall is a natural cave, a hollow space that was carved by centuries of erosion, creating a place where the sound of the river becomes a resounding heartbeat. One of the local here told me that the people say that this cave was once the home of the water deity. But hey, as usual, these myths and the geology is only half the story. As for the Eid people, these waterfalls are a living thing. Their legend tells of two lovers forbidden to be together, and in their grief, they leapt into the river, and the sky answered with a storm so fierce it split the Serpak River into two streams. Then, as recently as our time, the history added its own layers, as during the Vietnam War, the surrounding forests were part of a strategic corridor, a place of hidden trails, supply routes, and border zone patrols. The waterfalls themselves were not the battle sites, but the land around them carried the weight of the conflict. Fortunately, today the forest has reclaimed those scars, but the silence still feels heavy, as if the land and the elders here still remember those gruesome times. Yet, and despite all of this, the two waterfalls continue their eternal rhythm, especially in the rainy season when they become really unstoppable. I learned that it is a force of nature that shakes the ground beneath our feet. Wherever in the dry season, as we have now, the stream and the two falls soften and revealing the caves, the rock shelves, and the intricate patterns of the basalt columns, which is also not a bad view. So, no matter when we visit, the Serpak River never tells the same story twice, and visit you must if you are already in this amazing region. Because only when standing here, between Dak Nong and Dak Lop, we can feel the full power of the Central Highlands, and the maybe still active volcanic lava fire beneath our feet.
You want a ticket? Oh my god!
No. Yeah, it's just a chicken.
Huh?
Chat.
You want?
Yes, in chat. Okay.
Okay? Okay. Bye bye. Thank you. Come on. See you again. Well, if you haven't seen it, you have to come and see it. Once you have seen it, second time, maybe you choose the rainy season when the water is really strong. Could make a difference. But otherwise, once is enough.
Yes, if you have not seen it yet, it is really worthwhile to come, and it is easy reachable from the town of Dak Mil on the west, like 40 plus kilometers or so, and from Buon Ma Thuot on the east, it is even less, like around 26 kilometers only.
Crazy.
And there goes another one, the kind of driver who thinks the Highlands are his personal racetrack. Sad but true and very dangerous. And now, for our way back to the town of Dak Mil, we're taking the main highway, the QL14, because it is the faster route, and who knows, we might just discover a few new places along the way before reaching the hotel. Here we have another look at the Dak Mil Basalt Plateau, which is alive with coffee farms and stretching out beneath us like a great green and reddish earthen table. Rising in the distance is the Chuyang Massif with its dark ridges, which is marking the ancient volcanic spine of this region. This is the Na Tho Bak Ie Catholic Church, right here at the entrance to Dak Mil Town. It stands as a quiet and welcoming parish church of the Buon Ma Thuot diocese and marks the threshold between the open highlands and the heart of the town.
And we are back in the city.
Let us do a quick oil change and a full check on my trusted bike before we continue our journey tomorrow. Out here, maintenance is not just routine, it is part of our survival. A few minutes of care today will keep the road open for everything that comes next. And trust me, our next leg is another demanding stretch to ride. And with that, we are already nearing the hotel, and my day is slowly coming to a close. So let me take a moment to thank you for coming along, not only through the town of Dak Mil, but also across the magnificent twin waterfalls of Thac Dray Sap and Thac Dray Nur. These volcanic giants, carved by fire and shaped by myth, were a reminder of just how wild and ancient this land truly is. Moreover, today also marks another milestone in our BorderLine Odyssey. We now stand at 5,700 kilometers, yes, 5,700 kilometers of mountains, borders, forests, storms, and stories, and trust me, every stretch has tested us, and every stretch has rewarded us, and every stretch has brought us deeper into the hidden heart of Vietnam's untamed frontier. Tomorrow, we continue on what will be our final leg of the legendary QL14C, the southern stretch from Dak Mil down to the town of Phuc Ben in the province of Ben Phuc. It is a demanding road, a lonely road, and a historic road, where we will once again brush the border with Cambodia, riding the very thin line where these two nations meet and the forest still holds its silence. Along the way, we will pass the Bia Henri Maitre historical landmark, a stone marker honoring the late French explorer who mapped these highlands more than a century ago. From there we will traverse the Chot Tre Gai Forest checkpoint, a rugged national forest outpost where the canopy closes in and the world feels untouched, unchanged, and unbothered by our time. Then the road will carry us back towards civilization, but not before it challenges us one more time, as the southern QL14C is a stretch which is rarely seen, rarely filmed, and rarely understood, and that is exactly why we will ride it tomorrow. So, if you have enjoyed today's journey, click like and subscribe to join me in the next chapter, which is already our 55th episode, as we push deeper into the frontier and breaking past our 5,700 kilometer marker by entering another adventure into a territory that few travelers have ever witnessed. For now, stay safe, rest well, and I look forward seeing you in the next episode of our BorderLine Odyssey.